Today's guest is a very interesting one for the fact of how I got him on the podcast. Now, when I reach out to guests, I go through the DMs, I go through emails, I go through agents or PR reps. This one was a little different. I tweeted at All-Star outfielder Adam Jones tweeted out, who wants a guest on their podcast? I got to talk about. So I said, look, I'm going to shoot my shot. I'm drinking my coffee, right place at the right time, shoot or shoot. And guess what? We were tweeting at each other, went to the DMs after that, and now we have a 2-hour interview for you right now with Adam Jones. So if you like these interviews, like the one you're about to watch, and you've listened to and watched the other interviews I've done over the years, subscribe to the channel. Please subscribe. You'll be able to see other interviews I've done over the years and the ones coming up in the future. More content to come. And if you type in TaylorRingold.com, you can look at all my content organized and other things about me. So if you like Adam Jones and if you like baseball, 2 hours of that is coming up right now. Enjoy. Today's guest, we have a 5-time All-Star, 4-time Gold Glover, a 14-year Major League vet, and current outfielder for the Orix Buffaloes. It is Adam Jones. Adam, thanks for coming on the pod, man. I really appreciate it. Really appreciate it.
Glad we're able to make it work. You know, everybody's busy all this time. I've been on the other side of the world, so I'm glad that we're able to make it work. And I think we both have some interesting topics and interesting perspectives on things. So I think podcasts are great. It just allows you to be yourself without being uber censored, but allows you to, you know, have candid conversations, not the conversations obviously you have with your friends on the back porch while you're drinking, but you can have you can express yourself in multifaceted ways.
Yeah, you know, and I've been following for you on Twitter for a while, and you have over 500,000 followers, so you have a big voice. And yesterday, 9:58 New York time. Now, for people listening at home, you live in Japan because you play overseas for the Orix Buffaloes, and it's 10 p.m. currently for you. Right. You tweeted out, "Who needs a guest on a podcast? I got shit to talk." So I was like, "Hey, look, I caught that at the right time. I was drinking my coffee. I'm on Twitter scrolling like I always do." And I said, shit, I got to just hit him up and just, you know what, I'm just going to give it a try. And we started talking, and now you're on. It's the beauty. And there's a blessing and a curse when it comes to Twitter. Twitter is a gross, ugly space, and it's also great. You know,
for 100%. Social media is a place of just like I've gained and been able to connect with so many of my fans, people that support me, people that don't necessarily support me, but people that appreciate the game, people that appreciate, obviously, you know, other fans, obviously being in the American League East, Red Sox fans, Yankees, Blue Jays, Tampa fans. Like, you know, I've been able to interact with all of them on all type of levels, positive, negative, appreciative, non-appreciative, charitable, you know, just all different levels. And I think social media, the good of it offers that, is the connectability to anybody. I think that obviously the negative of it is you got people that can, you know, everybody's like an asshole. Everybody has one, an opinion. So you can obviously say whatever you want to say and things like that. And then, you know, I've heard a plethora of nasty things from all fan bases.
I do want to get into
that. I take the good and the bad.
Yeah. So we have a lot to break down. I want to talk about your major league career, then going overseas, but I really want to talk about what I think is one of the biggest spots in your career was the World Baseball Classic. You making one of the best catches I think anybody's ever seen in a moment like that. So I do want to start off when you got drafted by the Mariners, the feeling. I've interviewed some ball players before, and I talk about the moment of getting drafted. It's something that you can never remake again. It's a one moment. You can hit a million home runs and it might feel that the same feeling. I would love to hear the story about when you were drafted, who was with you, who was around you, surprising moment for you. Was it the Mariners you were looking for? I'll break that down.
I mean, it's like yesterday, to be honest with you. So being on the West Coast, the draft's East Coast. So the draft starts at 1:00 on the East Coast. And me, obviously June is finals for California schools. So I'm in finals. I'm literally in government class, but and studying for the final. Like, it's quiet. There's no lecturing, nothing. But my teacher at the time, Mr. Abrahamson, previously he was one of our baseball coaches. So he knew, and I informed him that, look, hey, today is the draft. I got a cell phone. If I get a text message, can I answer it? Because the possibility of me getting drafted today is really high. And he's like, hey, I understand it. If you get a buzz, I could take it outside. Don't interrupt anybody, but please, do what you got to do. And when you come back, let us all know, because, it's exciting for everybody. And about 10, I can't remember the time, but around 10:15, my phone was buzzing, and my advisor at the time, you can't call them agents in high school. You got to call them advisors.
Financially, yeah.
You call them agents, that means that you're benefiting some sort of way. And he called me and said, yeah, the Mariners took you 37th overall. And I'm sitting there like, huh? He's like, yeah, the Mariners, like, what? Like, I'm right outside the class. Like, the Mariners took you 37th overall. And my projectability, I'm like, I think it was 3 to 5, third to fifth round. So he's like, yeah, you went higher than expected, because at these tournaments, these new tournaments, because I, like, up until my senior year, I didn't go to the biggest of the biggest tournaments because you got to pay for them. Like, I didn't have the money, the resources to pay for the Baseball Americas, the Perfect Games. But once I got after my junior year and approaching my senior year, certain teams were like, hey, I know you ain't got the money to pay for these tournaments, but we'll sponsor you and pay for you. And I'm like,
wow.
I'll go. I'll fly. And then I never forget going to Florida and playing in one of the Perfect Game tournaments and playing for the California Blaze. And they paid for everything. And this team was stacked through the top, but it was a California team. And I knew a lot of the guys on the team from playing against them in previous tournaments. And they inserted me on their team, batting third, playing shortstop. And I'm like, hold on, you got all these other guys, that's just how they valued me. And I balled out in that tournament, and
damn right you did.
Just started to garner more attention nationally. And I just was like, okay, they took me third, and I didn't understand how to process it, because I'm a 17-year-old kid, from the inner cities and stuff. I'm just like, what, like, really, what does that mean? You took the 37 off. What does that mean? And I come back in, and the teacher's like, hey, what happened? What was the phone call? And I was like, the Mariners took me 37th overall. And the whole class just started clapping and just gave me a really nice round of applause. And 37th out of the possible 4 million available to be drafted each year. Like, I just was like, what the hell is going on around here? Like, this is like, seriously. And then after the class, I called my mom, I called my brother, and I'm just like, yeah, the Mariners just took me 37th overall. And like, I have no idea. My advisor drove down to San Diego because he was from Irvine at the time, and drove down and was like, yeah, well, let's, like, the next process, just first off to congratulate me, and then obviously the next process.
Yeah, it's a big process.
Talking to the team, but he had previous draft picks, so he just like, this is how you process it. Slow down, take a deep breath. Like, we have a team that really wants you. We're going to start negotiations with them, as soon as tomorrow, to try and get you in a uniform. But I already committed to San Diego State. I already committed to Tony Gwynn at the same time.
Big commitment, hometown guy, right?
Exactly. And so it's like, damn, I tell Tony, like, what, like, and obviously Tony Gwynn already knew that I was drafted. So
Right.
the next day he contacted me and was like, "Congratulations on the pick," and and just let me know if you need any advice on anything going both ways. If you're leaning a college route, if you're leaning a pro route, like just if you need some advice, talk to me.
Hey,
Yeah,
that's not a
like I'm an
bad
open
guy to
book,
have
an open
give you
door,
some advice. That's not bad at all. That's
bro.
not,
I was
dude.
able to I was able to hit with him for 10 years. I was able to be around that man for 10 off
Hey, you know
seasons.
what? You're a
I would
great
practice
player. He probably made you a 10 times better player because he's one of the greatest hitters of all time and one of the greatest baseball
all
minds
the
of
time.
all time. It's insane.
He made me a
That's
better he made me a man. He made me a better man.
that's more important.
Not just a better baseball. He made me a better man because our skill set was different. I'm taller, I'm lankier. Uh, my skill set was different. But TG was fast. He had a good arm at all the things when he was young. It was just a different point in times of our careers. But he taught me how to just process process everything because it's coming fast. Everything's is coming fast. You're drafted, and you're signed, and you go to some podunk ass city. Like I went from San Diego, great city, big city,
Yeah,
massive
of
metropolis,
course.
to I went to Phoenix for a couple of weeks for when I first signed, and then I
Yeah.
went to Appleton, Wisconsin. Like
Oh,
that's
yeah.
just 30 minutes south of Green Bay, like the middle of nowhere. Let's be honest with ourselves. Appleton's the middle of nowhere, but to go from a big city of San Diego, 4 million people, to go to a place that is 300,000, a town flat, tornado warnings, deer in the outfield because I didn't see any of these type of things growing up, and he
Yeah.
just was there to educate me on the fact that you're gonna have a lot of pressures, you're gonna have a lot of decisions, you're gonna have a lot of ups and downs. You're gonna be missing family, friends, all these type of things that's gonna happen with being in pro ball and being away. And I just think that I had him. I had Mark McLemore, who is my mentor.
Yeah.
I still talk to him. I talked to him the day I was drafted because another great story of that is that was my third period in lunch. Fourth period after lunch was my English class, and my English teacher, Miss Oyashiku, had Mark McLemore as a student 20 years prior.
Get
And
out.
McLemore's from the same area that I'm from.
I think
Yeah,
that's
so
very
she
that's very
called
funny.
him during random as hell. She called
Yeah.
him during class and was like, "Yeah, I got a kid that just got drafted," because she kept in contact with him too. And she's like, "I got a kid that just got drafted, and can you talk to him?" And this is June 3rd, so he's in the middle of the season also. But it's 1 o'clock, so I guess it's before he's going to the ballpark or just got to the ballpark. And we talked, and we ended up meeting a week later when I went out to the All American game out in New York, and he took me to dinner to Il Vagabonda. I'll never forget that restaurant. It was amazing. And in this big league place, he's dressed in cat slacks and
Yeah.
big league attire. I'm sitting there looking in Rockaware or Carl Kanai, look like a jackass. But that's all I had at the time. And it's just like I was fortunate because I was able to get big league advice being a high school student when most people have to just grind it out. They don't have the access
They have to
to
wait.
certain big leaguers. Yeah, they don't have access to that certain big leaguers. So that's why I think I use social media in that regard to reach out or to have these young kids reach out to me. I keep an open book that athletes are like you can reach out to me. You can ask me questions. You can ask me questions about the minor league. Like I think
It's very
that's the
important,
beautiful
man.
part about social media and the athletes' perspectives is to be able to help these young dudes adapt and understand these are things that you're gonna face. I don't care if you're a first round pick. I don't care if you got $4 or $5 million as a first round pick. I don't care about that. You're still gonna face this a lot of emotions of other guys. I mean, of everybody. You're gonna face these emotions because you're gonna go especially college guys. You're going from top tier programs, and then you're about to go to A ball. I don't give a damn how much money you got. You're about to go from this great facility to ass, as my background says, ass. You're gonna go to some terrible facilities, and And I know they've tried to improve them over the years, but it just is what it is. You know, you're sitting in A ball. A ball is not going to be like triple A. It's not going to be like the big leagues. It's
Right.
not. It's just not, because the investment is not there. And you know, I had guys I had two great guys that was able to explain it to me and lead me along the way. And Macklemore, especially, you know, on a day-to-day basis. TG was obviously vastly more busy, but Macklemore on a day-to-day basis, and I know I annoyed him. I know I bothered him. I know I would text him, call him every day, like, what's this, and he'd answer every time. Like, it's part of the process. It's part of the process. Keep your head up, keep grinding, keep pushing forward. And, you know, he was able to help me through my minor league journey. And, you know, I think that a lot of reasons of my success now is due to him and TG, because of the poise that they implemented in me to not be satisfied, to be hungry every single day, to be like, okay, hey, you're gonna have to work if you want to make it to the big leagues. They're not gonna just give it to you. I don't care if you're a first round pick. They're not just gonna say, here's the major leagues. They give you $1 million, they give you $2 million, $5 million. They're not gonna say, here's the major leagues. They're gonna say, hey, we put money into you, work your ass off, and make us look good. Because you're not going to talk to the people that drafted you until you make it to the major league.
You know what? The story that you just said, it really is so interesting, because there's a lot of guys that get drafted the first round, like yourself, or, you know, whatever, that the ego is there when they're a minor leaguer and they're not humbled. And it takes a little while for that to process. But you had Tony Gwynn and Mark to kind of tell you, look, you're great. Let's not get it twisted. You're very good. Clearly, the Mariners like you that much. But get ready for the hard part. And you need to play the way the baseball gods are telling you. Because the baseball gods are, for people at home, the baseball gods, powerful, man. And Adam, you know just as much as anybody else, the baseball gods do not want, they don't want you to mess with them. They won't mess with you, but you got to be humble, and the ego needs to be put down and recognize that this is a long process. And that process started for you as a pro player in 2006 as a Mariner. I want to hear a story with Ichiro. Ichiro is one of the greatest hitters of all time. I'm sure, like, freaking, like, you have Tony Gwynn as in high school as a guy you looked up to and you got advice from, and then you go to the bigs and you have Ichiro telling you some pointers here and there. I remember watching him hit like home runs out of like BP, and he'll aim it wherever he wants, and he wasn't even a home run hitter, which is insane. So I want to hear a story. You got a short time in Seattle, but I want to hear a story between you and Ichiro.
So Ichiro is obviously, you know, like you said, it's one of the greatest hitters of all time. No matter if you incorporate the Japanese or the Major League Baseball service time. But you're talking about a superstar. You're talking about, like, obviously Ohtani right now, he's garnered the superstardom. Ichiro, bigger.
Really? You think
Ohtani.
so?
I mean, bigger. There was no social media. There was no Twitter. There was no Twitter back in 2001 when the Ichiro first came. I mean, Twitter, Instagram, all this crap, all that stuff started at about 2007. I mean, Facebook opened itself in 2007 to people that didn't have college accounts, you know, because, like, I mean, they started to build their brand. I mean, Ichiro was just a god. And I remember the first time I got to the big leagues, and we were in Toronto, and he just like, hey, don't run into me. The first thing he said, hey, no congratulations. He said, hey, don't run into me.
Stay out of my way.
And I mean, I'm 6'2" at the time. I'm 20 years old, 6'2", maybe 200 pounds. And he's like, hey, don't run into me. And he's 5'8", 5'9", whatever he's listed at, 165 pounds, soaking wet. He's like, hey, don't run into me. And it's underrated that Ichiro's English is actually damn good, like perfect. And he's a big Snoop Dogg fan, by the way.
That's so interesting.
But he's like, he loves Snoop Dogg. And he's like, yeah, just don't run into me. So I remember a ball going to right center, and it's like it's the first game, but it's like later in the game, and like I'm looking at him, I'm running, and I'm looking at him though, and I see the ball, I just keep looking at him, and then I hear him call it, I just like peel out, like total, just 90 degrees straight away from him, because I didn't want to be anywhere near him, because if you hit Ichiro, you're going to the minor leagues.
Oh, you're done.
And on the way to the minor leagues, you can get your ass kicked. Like you don't hit Ichiro. And he was like, after the play, I looked at him, he's like, just like nodded at me. Like, okay. And it's like, all right, I see you. You listen. I got that vibe of like, you listen, don't just stay away from me. And obviously watching him and knowing that, I got to have a couple of spring trainings with him. And just knowing that like the guy covered in just crazy ground. Just obviously one of the best right fielders to ever play the game, ever in the history of the game. And he was just like, obviously he was reserved because, at the time, just the cultural differences and all that, but he was reserved but he just minded his own business. He had a very great sense of style, still does, and just did his own thing. And I remember one time he took me to dinner with him and Jojima, and just to a Japanese restaurant. And I'm just like I never had Japanese food at this time. I'm like, what the hell are they serving here? And then I ate it, and I'm like, can I get more of this? Like, can you guys give me like triple of this stuff? Like, I need more of this stuff, because it was just phenomenal. And just being able to be around those guys at such a young age. And I don't know how many teams do it nowadays, but the Mariners always brought their first and second rounders. They always brought them to Major League camp to be around, because you invested all this money in them. So they wanted them to be around the Major League guys, the guys that this is what you can be. We invested.
I think that is so smart. This is what you can be. That is so smart. Because you're teasing them. Say, look, we got you now because we can see you could be here one day. And then, it's like you see the atmosphere, you see the camaraderie to the clubhouse, you see all the gear. Like, this all can be yours if you work your ass off, and you'll be here. You'll be in the starting lineup. You'll be an impact player. But for you were traded and to the Orioles.
Yeah.
This has to be one of the more shocking things of your career. I would say definitely you're shocked, but at the same time, I feel like you were probably furious because you thought you were going to be the next Tony Gwynn, be a guy who plays with one team his entire career. So take me through the story about getting traded to the Orioles for a guy that the Seattle Mariners did not pan out whatsoever.
Well, Bedard he had two unbelievable years back to back, and 6 and 7, led the league in strikeouts both years. He was unbelievable those years. The trade, when you get traded, you go to a different division, things happen. That's the trade part is obviously out of your control. But I remember I was, at the end of the season, before they told me, you're going to Venezuela, we want you to get more at bats, because when I got called up in 2007, in the 2 months, they were like, because Raul Ibanez was struggling, and they were like, yeah, we want you, he's struggling. I'm just raking in AAA. He's like, yeah, come up and play some left field, because Ichiro moved to center field, signed Jose Guillen. And they're like, yeah, we want you to, come up and add a spark. Crazy part is the day I got to back up there, August 3rd, 2007, was my last day. My last game in the minors was my birthday, August 1st. My last at bat in the minor leagues was a home run to right center field. The day I get up there, Raul Ibanez for the next 2 months is arguably the best player in damn baseball. So I got probably 40 at bats, and I'm sitting there like they called me up. I got a pinch hit, pinch run, late defense. Like, I did all the things. Like, I'm sitting there, but every day I'm like, working my ass off. But I remember the GM was saying, as the offseason approached, he was like, yeah, Jones is untouchable, but then I called McLemore, talked to Tony Gwynn, and they both said the same exact thing. He said, hey, it's a business. Ain't nothing untouchable. Okay. So go out and just continue to do what you're doing. You never know where you can be. Every single day you're playing for all 30 teams. You're not playing for your team. You're playing for all 30 teams, especially when you go to winter ball. So I get down to winter ball. We're playing good. And then I remember we're just finished game 3 of the finals. I went to Barquisimeto, the Cardenales de Lara, and we're facing the Tigres de Aragua, which was Miguel Cabrera's team. And we just won a game 3. We just won game 3. We're up 2-1. This is January of 2008.
Okay.
And we just won game 3. We're up 2-1 in the series. Right after the game, the GM comes to me and says, "You can't play anymore." And I look at him like, what are you talking about? He's like, "Yeah, the Orioles and the Mariners are trying to work out a trade for you. And the GM from the Mariners and the Orioles both called and said, you can't play anymore."
Oh, geez.
Because it's January, and spring training is from that time
a month away.
4 to 6 weeks. Yeah. So I'm like, well, this sucks, because I'm with my team. I'm with my guys. We're grinding. We're 2 wins away from the championship, and they said you can't play anymore. You got to go. You just can't play. So I was like, well, at least can I stay for the finals and stay here? We end up losing the damn series 4 games.
You were in the lineup.
I'm not saying that I was in. I'm not saying that I was the impact of it. I'm just saying that I was with my guys during that time, and that part sucked because we played with these guys for like 60 games, and then damn, I can't play with you guys anymore. So they were. Just again, it was the business side of it. And again, I talked to Gwen, I talked to Macklemore about all these situations. And it was just, he's like, this is the business side of it. And then I ended up getting traded to Baltimore February 8th. And, I went from being comfortable, from being from San Diego to, spring trainings in Arizona to, I got to go to Fort Lauderdale. I didn't know Fort Lauderdale at the time. I went to Fort Lauderdale one time before. That was for the Super Bowl with the Colts and the Bears. So I was in Miami, Fort Lauderdale area one time in my life. And then I was, brand new guy, 22 years old, going to a brand new organization. The hardest part about being in a new organization is not knowing anybody. Like literally had to know every coach,
absolutely,
every new coach, every new this. I knew some of the players just by playing against them in a fall league, obviously reading up on them in the Baseball America magazines, which at that time was how you found out who was who. They had all the stats and all that kind of stuff. And I was a big reader into the Baseball America magazine. And, but everything was brand new. I had to learn everything. And I embraced it. But I think there's 2 big parts of it. The second day of spring training, the manager told me, he said, "Hey, this is your job to lose. Go have fun." Once he told me that, my ass cheeks, I was able to just be like,
just release and relax, man. That's it.
Okay, thank you.
That's
thank
funny.
You. I came over to a new organization. I didn't know what to expect. I didn't know any of these guys. And then the second was Markakis took me under his wing. He just was like, "Hey man, I know you're the new guy here. I played with him in the fall league," and he was like, "Hey, just relax, man. Have some fun. Our team's not that good, but you're gonna get a chance to play. Go have some fun." And they were bad when I got there. And he said, "Just have some fun and just do what you can do to make us better." And those 2 things just helped me relax and just go out and play the game with no pressure on my tail. Like the manager said, I'm starting every day in center field. So basically the things I had to worry about was staying healthy and staying producing. Smart away from the game. Yeah. Exactly. And
now was there
I know that.
Sorry, go ahead. My bad. What was that?
I'd say I know they had some veterans at the time, but for center field there was really nobody there. And he just said, "Hey, run with it. Go have fun. Be you." And that was easy to do. I went out there and just obviously did what I did and played my ass off. But I played hard. I played smart. And, I was fortunate enough to have good health. Obviously, you got a lot of guys in the game that are very talented and all across sports. But health is that sixth tool in baseball that people don't mention. And
Right.
knock on wood, I was able to stay healthy.
Being that the Orioles were not a contending team, they were not great. You came into a situation where center field was open.
Mhm.
Are you looking back on it? Do you think it was the best move for you because you're 22 years old, you're getting a shot, and the team is horrible, so there's not the crazy amount of expectations? So were you a little bit like you said, you were more relaxed, but that whole expectation thing of contending was not in the future at the time? Was that a big sigh of relief for you because you can kind of settle into yourself and not be under so much pressure? Like a Jared Kelnick, who's a guy in Seattle who's struggled, and there's a lot of pressure to Seattle trying to make the playoffs. So I kind of look at like those like that way.
Right. That's a great point. If you're young and you're entering, a playoff race, like, he came in early May, early May, and, second game going, he hit a home run, extra base hits, and then went into a spell of struggling, which is not uncommon because Major League Baseball pitching is extremely, extremely hard to hit. I don't care if you're facing the Marlins or you're facing the Orioles now, or if you're facing the Angels or the Rangers. You can face any team that's bad, the Pirates. It doesn't matter. Hitting major league pitching is hard. It doesn't matter. It just is what it is. It's hard. And I can understand his pressure of, well, you're the second overall prospect in the whole entire system behind Wander Franco. So especially entering a race, and Seattle has not been a playoff team since 2001. So it's like, oh man, the pressure, like all the national news, and the same had to go with Wander Franco. But with Wander Franco, it's a different culture down there in Tampa. It's a completely different culture.
Right.
Because they've been in the playoffs 10 times over the last 15 years. So it's like, hey, there's pressure, but there's not much pressure. We have a good team. We have good aura. Like, just come and do what you do, opposed to, hey, we need this bat to be big because we're trying to get to the playoffs for the first time in 20 years. You know what I mean? So there's just a lot of pressure. And I think that, his first go around, he might have put pressure on himself. At the same time, he's still 21 years old. He's 21. So, there's a lot of pressures on him. So right. I completely understand that he wanted to, hit the pitch outside of the stadium. And, it's just part of, it's part of being a human, and it's part of playing sports. And I think with myself, I was just like, I get to go over to Baltimore. There's no pressure on me. There's zero pressure. There was no expectations in 2008 for the Orioles to win more than 70 games. Okay. If we won 75 games, what a great year. If we finished 500, terrific. So I went over there, and obviously the Yankees were still the formidable force, the Red Sox, and the Blue Jays were still kind of good. And, the Rays, that was the year of the Rays, 2008, when they actually just started to beat the hell out of everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah, they went to damn World Series in 2008. And then obviously you got Halladay up in Burnett up in Toronto, just dealing. But they won those two games and then get the ass kicked out of them for the next three. But it just it's like I didn't have the pressure of a lot of these guys. I look at myself as like how Brian Reynolds of Pittsburgh is. There's no pressure on Brian Reynolds. There's no pressure on Adam Frazier. Adam Frazier's never played, has not, and I think he's a great player, but he never had to play in any pressure game in his entire career until he got to San Diego. And as soon as you get to San Diego, it's like, hey, look, we got to face the Dodgers, Giants. They've been kicking our asses for the last years. Like, look, man, and we're trying to make a playoff hunt. You got Tatis, Machado, Hosmer, you got Darvish, you got all these really good starters, but the pressure, and it's a different atmosphere playing in front of 12 to 15,000 playing in front of 40,000. Big change in atmosphere.
Right.
And I think my early years taught me to like be thick-skinned and like just look at no matter who's in the stands, go out and play as hard as you can. And my first few years in Baltimore, I mean, we're playing in front of, again, 8 to 15,000. Okay. Our biggest games were opening day, a monument reveal, 4th of July. Besides that, there wasn't many people out there. So
Yankees come to town, maybe.
Yankees come to town, it'd be 30,000, but it'd be, again, 22,000 of their fans.
Right.
You know, they used to call it Fenway South. And, you know, it's just so it groomed me to be like, look, no matter who comes and plays, you play as hard as you can every single day. And then when our fans started to come, because our team started to be more successful, it's like, oh, it's easy to play hard now. I mean, it's easy to play hard. I don't have to I didn't have to ramp myself up to play hard in front of a bigger crowd because I was playing hard. If there was one person in the stands, I was playing hard. So I didn't really have to do that. And I think a lot of these young dudes, I mean, just the pressures of these guys, there's so many more pressures of it. And again, you bring in social media of it, and you bring in guys who will sit on their couch scratching their nuts and say this guy sucks when the guy is 12 years younger than you and is trying to live out his dream, and then ends up reading this comment and is like, well, you know, that's damn, do I really suck? No, you don't suck. The game is hard. And I think that's where my role is in the last few years. I still talk to a lot of the younger major league players right now. And just like, look, man, hey, you going through something, it's okay. You ain't the first person to struggle in the major leagues. Like, I get it. And it's like, not everybody's going to be Trout. Not everybody's going to be Acuna, Soto, Vlad Jr. These are guys that just, as soon as they come in, studs. Not everybody's going to be that. Because, you know, the most rookie of the years don't end up having the greatest careers because the next year they figure their asses out.
Right.
You know, and like I'm saying, watching the game tonight, you see Cody Bellinger, MVP in 2019. The last 2 years have not been the greatest. This year he was atrocious.
Very bad.
But he had a massive hit tonight, to put them in the next round. That just means that he has guys around him that are like, hey, pulling for him. The guys around him are positive.
There's a supporting cast around him to help him out, which is what you had.
It's so easy to be negative in baseball.
Right.
I had a great surrounding cast, and it's so easy to be negative.
Yeah, it's very easy to be negative, but when you have guys like Markakis, and look, your 2013-2014 season that you played in Baltimore, you guys were insane. I mean, you had Chris Davis mashing 50 home runs a year. You had J.J. Hardy, you had Nick Markakis, you had yourself, you had vets, but you also had guys that were producing every single day. When you were around that Mariner team, that wasn't fantastic. And then your first few years in Baltimore really wasn't great either. To see the fan base rally behind you guys in 13 and 14, when you guys were competing for, you know, going to the World Series, you guys were that good. How did that feel to?
Yes.
As like yourself, during those years, you were an MVP candidate. You were hitting 30 home runs a year, driving 100 in. You were destroying the Yankees, which is, I'm sure you take a lot of pride in that. But taking
100%.
through those times in 2013, 2014, being such a stud and kind of turning that organization around after years of drought.
I just think that the young guys grew up together, and you know, you see that with certain franchises where the young guys get to grow, and when you see that they get to grow together, like they become good. Obviously, you know, I'm trying to think of like the Astros, I think is the best example of it. Yeah, I know Springer left this year or last year via free agency, but if you look at their core, you got Bregman, Altuve, Gurriel, Correa, and obviously with Springer in the past, like McCullers, they grew up together. Right. Like they got to play together. Then now you add Tucker, then you got the center fielder
Myers.
You got McCormick, Myers, who just hurt himself, but damn good player. Then you add a veteran of Morton back in, obviously a couple years ago, add Morton, add Presley, and obviously I think the biggest and most important piece was adding Verlander, who is first ballot Hall of Famer, let's be honest with yourself. And you add his expertise, his knowledge, his cojones, most importantly. He brought cojones. Like, we don't give a rotten ass damn about anybody. Let's go out and win. And then you add just the professionalism of Brent. And then, with coming up with Alvarez and the via of a trade, like, that's how we were. Obviously, not to that extent. We didn't have the access of the payroll that the Astros have, but we had the access of the knowledge. We added, I'll never forget when we, in 2011, we added Vladdy Sr. and Kevin Gregg, Kevin Millwood, and Derek Lee.
Old vets.
And obviously, 2011, some old rotten vets, just some old bastards. But those guys around the young guys taught us how to just first off, again, be professionals, take it all in stride, take a 5-game winning streak the way you take a 5-game losing streak. It's part of the game. Show up every day, play the game hard, play it smart, grind it out. And I think having those guys taught us how to start winning, opposed to just start, like, not to lose, but to start winning. And that's the biggest thing in sports is some people, and it's just life, some people are so afraid of losing that they don't know how to win. Like, losing is part of life. No matter what field you are, you're going to get rejections. You're going to get no's. You're just going to get no's. As a kid, I sold candy. I would have 20 things of candy in my box. I went to, I don't even know how many houses to sell 20 things of candy. You're going to have to hear a boatload of no's. So I heard no's as a young kid. You're going to get no's. You're going to get boos. You're going to get the negative side of it. But if you show up every day and continue to grind it out, you're going to be successful in the long run. Don't be afraid of a no. A no just means, okay, that particular person is not interested in this, but the next person. And that's the same with sports. Just because you have a bad at bat, you got another chance. Don't be afraid to, okay, you 0 for 3 with 3 strikeouts. Yeah, that stinks. Yeah, everybody on the board, everybody in the stadium, people at home watching, they see it. They see the bottom line, 3 strikeouts. Your ass is terrible. But the 4th at bat, what if you hit a walk-off home run? Don't no one give a damn about your 3 strikeouts. You hit a walk-off run. So it's like each at bat is an opportunity. Each inning, each day, each pitch is an opportunity to change whatever narrative is going on. And if you're afraid to fail, if you're afraid to fail, you won't succeed because I don't want to get it wrong. I get it wrong. You play baseball. Baseball is all about failure. If you can handle failure in baseball, you can handle anything. That's why I think that baseball players are some of the most mentally tough people in life, because you handle, like, to be a Hall of Famer, you have to fail 70% of the time. There's no job on earth that you can fail 70% of the time. And if you can name one, I'll go do it.
Yeah, please. If anybody else listening or want to comment here, you let us know, because guess what? I will jump on it. I will stop doing what I'm doing. When you talk about 100%. learning, and you learned a lot from a lot of vets during your career and during your Orioles career, and you learned a lot of life lessons. One game in particular that stands out for me is April 29th, 2015. You're playing the White Sox at home. It is a crowdless game. Not one person in the stands. It's because of, on April 12th, 2015, Baltimore police arrested Freddie Gray, and Freddie Gray then ended up losing his life due to a spinal cord injury because of other complications. But I would love to hear your side of the story. You were playing in a game where nobody was in the crowd, and it's for me, when I was watching it, the sound off the bat was so freaking loud. It was just so eerie. You have, Gary Thorne kind of calling the game in the broadcast booth like it was like a guys playing golf, really quiet. You know, it was super weird in Eerie. Tell me what you were feeling during this game. You guys ended up winning 8-2, but the win doesn't really matter. It's more of what was going on outside of the stadium and what was going inside the stadium with you guys.
Right. I mean, that whole situation was just the Freddie Gray murder, and it's a murder. I don't care how you want to cookie cut it, like, you know. And I get, and my father-in-law talked to me all the time about it. He said, you know, about the rough rides, and I get that. You know, I completely get that. You commit just this massive crime, and you know, the cops ain't gonna just take you in and offer you cupcakes and ice cream, especially if you're black. I don't care where you can spin that however you want to spin it. It just, reality is reality. And you know, it was a tough time for Baltimore. And obviously people that know Baltimore is 65% black, especially inner city. Okay. It's a black city. And that at that time, you know, being one of the only black players on the team, like my teammates like looked at me like, you know, you have to say something. You know, you have to address this. And me being from San Diego, such a multicultural background. Like, I didn't just grow up with black. I grew up with blacks, Mexicans, whites, Filipinos. Like, I grew up around a plethora of people. So I'm like, I really don't understand, you know, all of this that's going on. So, you know, I reached out to my brother, I reached out to my friends about just like my close circle about like really like what is going on. And obviously my father-in-law, he wasn't my father-in-law at the time, but he's from Baltimore and he understood the history of Baltimore. And I'm just like, explain this to me, you know, explain me what's going on, because I didn't understand it. And I spoke up about it because I knew that there was hurt in the city, and I wasn't afraid to speak about the hurt and about the violence that happens, you know, in the inner cities. And I grew up in inner cities. I have friends that have lost their lives to violence. And people that are locked up for the rest of their lives to violence. That's you get locked up for life. That's another murder in my book. And you know, I had to speak up on it because, like, it hurt my soul to not. And I knew that other people would look up to me and be like, "Oh, why are you so silent about it?" And it's not about being silent. It's just I had to understand everything about it. And now in today's society, we all speak up. As soon as we see a clip, we speak about it. The second we see a clip and offer an experience, and it could be a minute clip of something. Obviously, if anybody's ever been pulled over by the cops, it don't happen in 60 seconds. That's Twitter, Instagram, 60 seconds. Nothing happens in 60 seconds. Okay. We're talking about 20, 30-minute confrontation. Show the entire thing before you offer any sort of opinions towards things. And, you know, again, that situation, I had to speak up on it. And for a city like Baltimore, as African-American it is, and, you know, African descent, there's a lot of people from, you know, from Africa in that community. I just had to speak up, and I couldn't stay quiet, and it hurt my heart because, like, I get it. You can say what you want about Freddie Gray's criminal past. I get it. You know, was not what we say a model citizen. Did not follow every protocol. Did not do every single thing by the book. I get that. I completely understand. I understand that. There's so many people out there that don't. There's also so many people that get the proper treatment and get due process. He didn't get his due process. So that's the part that hurt the most. But speaking on that, you know, I got so much backlash from that. So many people, oh, he's a criminal. He did this and did that. And I get that. Again, was he the guy that's gonna come mow the old lady's lawn, you know, help the old lady get her? I don't know. But did he deserve what he deserved? The answer is no. And anybody that thought differently got a middle finger from me.
Right.
Okay, he doesn't deserve that. Now, does he deserve to get due process, or if he was to get jail time for that? Okay, that's the judicial system. Is the judicial system correct? No. My wife's a lawyer, and my father-in-law is a lawyer too. So, I got the judicial understanding, and they both looked at me like, "This is some bullshit." So, I get that. But then, obviously moving past that, because you can talk about that forever. But playing that game, it brought back so many memories by being here in Japan last year when I first got here, because we had no damn fans. And I'm just sitting there looking around like, this is eerie. Now, I was 27 at the time, and I was 35 at the time here. And I'm just like, this is eerie and some bullshit, because what's going on? Obviously, we had the COVID thing has, incapacitated a lot of the world. And, still here, they have so many rules. Still, the stadiums are still not full capacity. But playing with no fans was, like you said, use a word that I've used so many times, eerie. It was like a graveyard. Like, you looked out, there was nobody. There was people outside the stadium, because we can see the gates, but in our outfield, the gates were so far back to where like you can hear people, but you can't really hear them because it's so far. And Utah Street that runs along right field was closed, but on left field, way back, we're talking like one of these 650-foot home runs is where our Monument Park was, that had the statues, and they had a gate out there, and fans were there. There's a hotel, the Hilton. You had a lot of people in the hotel rooms, like looking out. You can see them, but you can't hear them. And it was just eerie. But if I could take one great thing away from that game, it was that the game was 2 hours and 6 minutes.
Wow, really quick.
And obviously, it's been the subject of so much controversy of gameplay time. The game was 2 hours and 6 minutes. We scored 5 off Samardzija in the first, and the game just went. It was so quick, and again, it was eerie. The circumstances sucked, and it was weird. But another funny part of this story that whole time was, so I'm leaving the ballpark. We had our game canceled that we had to make it. And one of the people outside, like I'm walking, underneath the tunnel to my car to go to my car. And one of the older, just one of the workers there, white guy, was like, hey, be careful out there. And I looked at him, and I looked around like that. Who, me? I looked because a black man was killed. So I'm like, who are you talking to, me? And he's like, yeah, be careful out there, man. It's crazy out there. And I said, they don't want me. They want your ass. Don't.
Yeah, they want, right. The riots are going on.
About?
Yeah, right. The crazy riots.
The riots was going outside?
Yeah.
Yeah, they don't want me. Trust me. They don't want me. They want your ass. And as soon as I drove out, and I was driving out and on the street right outside Camden, I seen like 4 or 5, and probably more of that, but 4 or 5 cars getting like at the light, like kids, men, just like opening car doors with people in them, like, get out this damn car. Like, it was like mayhem. I rolled my window down, and I just looked at the kid, and he just looked at me and just walked past me and went to the next one. But as he walked past me, I screamed at him, I said, hey, this ain't what it is. You do not need to do this kind of stuff. I rode him and driving on the street. Like I was driving so slow. I was like, just screaming at these kids. These are things that you don't want to do. This is not helping you.
Right.
And again, with that, the worst part of it is, the news showed the absolute worst of it. They tried to say that the city was burning down. You had the National Guard in town. You spend all this money on National Guard. Like, if the National Guard is deployed, they need to be working all around the clock. If the National Guard, I remember showing up to the ballpark the very next day, and there was probably 15,000 National Guard Hummers. These guys are sleeping underneath their damn vehicles. That's not the use of our tax money. Be honest with ourselves. And I get that things were bad. I get it. The news exploited and created way more controversy than needed to be. But again, that's everybody has an agenda, everybody has a quota, but overall it was just a bad time, man. It was a bad time, but I think I'm most proud of myself for not being afraid to speak up in a moment of pain for a lot of people, because there's a lot of it goes on now, as you see it with the George Floyd thing last year, and a lot of people spoke up for that. But there's a lot of things that happen inner cities, in big cities, all over, that people just turn a blind eye to. And my mom, may her soul rest in peace, my grandma, they would kick my ass if I didn't stand up for these type of things.
Yeah, because you personally have a massive voice being a Baltimore Oriole, where, like you said, I forgot what the percentage you said, but it's a high percentage of African Americans that are living in Baltimore, and you are a model citizen, you are a superstar athlete, and if you can talk, you should. And you're seeing that more often. And for you joined the Player Alliance with guys like Sabathia, Edwin Jackson. I would love for you to talk about what the Player Alliance is for you, and what does that mean when you're a Major League Baseball player committee guy on that list with, I would say, hundreds of other ball players. Talk to me about what the Player Alliance means to you.
Well, the Players Alliance is a group of again, minorities in the game of baseball. But it's not just all minorities. You have a lot of white guys that are a part of it because they understand the bullshit on the side of the sport. They understand the inequalities and the passes that others get that others don't get. And like I said, one of the biggest contributors is Clayton Kershaw. Like, he gets it. You have guys that in the Players Alliance, when they created, you had guys that were opposed to it, but would room with Latins, room with Black players, eat with Latin players, eat with Black players, high five us on the field, but deep down they're like, that's the shit I can't tolerate. Like, don't eat at a table with me and then shit on me afterwards. Come on, let's be honest. Like, just don't eat with me at the table then. If that's how you feel, I understand it. If that's how you feel, that's how you feel. But the alliance is just whole mission is to just give everybody equality. And if you know baseball, RBI gets a fraction of what baseball makes. And listen, the Orioles just finished building a $35 million facility in Dominican Republic. If the Orioles gave $35 million to Baltimore inner cities for baseball programs, and it doesn't even have to be baseball. If they gave it for educational, if they gave it for awareness, medical, like just anything.
Right.
How much better could the city of Baltimore be? But it shows that baseball is a business, and it shows that by giving Dominican and building this place down there, which many teams have, it shows that they want to groom the next player. They want to benefit from the talent pool. And, Dominican play, like, I've been Dominican many times. They are all about baseball. They're not about soccer. They're not about football. They're not about basketball. They're not about any other sport but baseball. So it's like, okay, look, I'm going to go down there. There's a lot of kids down there. There's a new generation. Every year it's a new generation. We're going to teach these kids English, literacy, and ultimately we want them to be baseball players. That's what you invest. When you invest $35 million into something, that's what you're going to do. And all the teams have done it. I don't think every single team, but the majority of teams have facilities in Dominican, Venezuela, and obviously they're starting to do more things in Colombia now because the talent. A lot of Colombian kids are getting away from soccer and want to play baseball. So it's like, I get that. I completely get it. But at the same time, don't say that RBI has not been being produced much from RBI, or you give RBI $1 million and say, oh, well, look at, this is what we're doing. This is how RBI,
It's more of a
give $1 million.
PR stunt. It's a PR
let's
stunt,
be honest,
right?
100%. Let's be honest with ourselves. $1 million is a boatload of money. $1 million spread across 30,000 ain't shit. Okay, we all getting Lunchables, the pizza Lunchables, which was my favorite. Okay, that's what we're all getting. So I think that the Players Alliance is a group of just honorable men, Black, white, Latin, obviously majority of Black guys that just say, look, enough is enough. We see the bullshit behind the politics of the game, and people say, oh, there's no politics. Why you got politics in baseball? Oh, you must have never played amateur league then. If you say why is politics in baseball, you never played high school baseball or travel baseball, because if you don't understand politics in baseball, you just
I get it, dude. I get it 100%, bro. Yeah,
100%. There's so many politics in baseball, and I just think the Players Alliance is there to say, look, we have the resources, we have the manpower, we have the guys who want to be boots on the ground to go and show these young kids of any color. It's not saying, oh, we just want all Black kids to be in the major leagues. No, we just want equal. All throughout history, throughout the civil rights, all Black people wanted and want is the same opportunity. I don't care what slice of pie you try and slice it in. Black people just want equality and the same opportunity. That's all. And I've seen it's playing, like I said, I played 19. This is my 19th year professionally. 17 of them professional since I was high school. I've seen some of the most egregious things I've ever seen. I've seen players get looked over, passed over, that were vastly better than the ones that got promoted. Way better, younger, better. And I sit there and question, but I expressed myself because, I was a young pup just trying to do it myself.
right.
But I never questioned or asked the questions until I was established myself. And I'm like, hold on, why? Like, why is this? Why? And the Players Alliance is there to be like, to answer that question of why, and to give hope, to give opportunity to young kids, again, of all races. Obviously, the target is to work inner cities, but inner city is just it's a term that people tried to coin years ago, decades ago, to say just Black. No, inner city is Black, white, Hispanic, Filipino, Asian, all races and denominations. That's what inner city is. Inner city is the people that can't afford every damn thing that the suburbs can. Okay. But when you say inner city right now, when you say inner city in America, they just say, oh, Black. And that's dumbing down what really is. And again, the Players Alliance is there to give opportunity. It's not guaranteeing that, oh, yeah, here, I'll give you the opportunity, I'll give you some gloves, bats. This is going to guarantee you to make it to the major leagues. No, guaranteed to make it to major leagues. There's no guarantee. But you got to work your ass off. You got to work your ass off and catch some breaks and all the above. But it's to give kids a chance, inner city kids a chance. Not every kid is gonna. And I grew up with some kids once I started playing travel ball. I grew up with some kids that parents bought them new gloves, new bats, and at the travel ball, these bats are $300-$400 a piece. I knew
gloves are $300 too. Yeah,
exactly. I knew kids that had new stuff every week. Me, I used a Spalding glove that my cousin gave to me that had a big ass hole between these two fingers. So that means that I couldn't rattle a ball. I had to catch that thing flush, or I'm gonna get hit right in the mouth. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
I didn't have lessons. I had friends that had got hitting lessons at 13, 14, 15. I didn't have no damn hitting lessons. I went out and back and threw some rocks up to myself and swung and hit them. You know what I mean? So I just think that my involvement with the Players Alliance is obviously bring awareness to it, be a voice, because like you said, people listen to me, people listen to the good guys of the game. But it at the same time, we just want to give kids a chance. I was given that chance by other families to, I couldn't afford these tournaments. Other families was able there to pay for these tournaments.
Right.
I want, and the Players Alliance want to give these kids an opportunity, because once you get an opportunity, you can't you run with it. I'll never forget, I got the opportunity to play in this tournament. One kid missed a tournament because he had some high school obligation, and I played shortstop that tournament that he missed. He came back, and he wasn't at shortstop no more because I was there. He was the team shortstop for 2 years. He came back, and his ass was at second base, and his dad was pissed. But the coach was like, and this kid's better.
This kid's better, right?
And he's like, and the dad was like, well, he doesn't pay for all this. I'm paying for all this. And the coach was like, I get all that, but the kid's better. And that's all we want to do. We just want to give these kids opportunity. And if I didn't have the opportunity, I don't know where I'd be, because once I got that opportunity, I ran with it. And that's not to say that every kid's going to run with it, because there's plenty of kids that get opportunities. You look at, college football, basketball, baseball, whatever. There's so many kids that are blessed to get this opportunity, and then they mess it off because of various things.
Right.
Me, I got the opportunity, and I ran with that son of a bitch like Usain Bolt. Okay, I didn't turn her. I didn't look, and that's all. That's the thinking of the Players Alliance, is give inner city kids that don't have a voice, kids that don't have a chance, all races, but give the kid that wants it an opportunity to have it.
And I think two people that would be very proud of you is your grandmother and your mother, because you talked about how just before, if you didn't say anything, those two people would be on your ass and be mad at you for not saying anything. But now you're actually not only did something during that time in 2015, but now in present day on the other side of the world, you're still doing it, which I want to congratulate you on that and that feat, because that's very important. And you take a lot of pride in it. Yeah. And I do want to get back onto, I want to get back to on your career. I want to talk about a moment as a baseball fan where I think it's one of the coolest moments of baseball history. And it wasn't in a major league season. It was during the World Baseball Classic. You were on the 2017 roster. It is a star-studded team. I'm sure it's the best team you've ever played on when it comes to the amount of star-studded athletes and all-stars and MVPs. But you made the play of the decade, in my opinion, in baseball, one of the plays of the decade, because of the moment Team USA versus an unbelievable team, the Dominican team. And then you have you from San Diego playing in San Diego and robbing a home run off of Manny Machado, a guy you were friends with for your entire career.
My teammate.
Your freaking teammate.
My teammate.
Tell me the moment you are going back to the center field. And look, Petco Park, for everybody at home, that is a deep center field. That is deep. And that's big a ball. He drove that thing. So I want to get a story out of you, and because it's unbelievable. And you guys ended up winning the whole thing, beating Puerto Rico.
Yeah. I mean, I've downplayed that play so many times, just because, when you like I said, I've obviously won 4 Gold Gloves, so it's like it's up to the next play. You make a nice play, okay, the next ball is coming to you. Be ready for the next ball. This play was, excuse my French, the shit. Okay. it was the shit. Like, let's be honest with ourselves. Moment, 7th inning, Dominican Republic. You're talking about a USA was star-studded. The biggest names in the game of baseball, the American side, didn't play for Team USA. There was no Trout. There was no Harper, Scherzer, Kershaw. Those guys weren't there. And people were like, oh, man, why didn't they play? They didn't want to play. And again, it's the World Baseball Classic is really, really hard to play in because to ramp up, I played 9 games straight of 9 innings in March. I've never done that, ever. And to ramp your body up to play that many games, that it just doesn't happen. You just don't do it. And the team that we assembled was amazing. You want to talk about the guys who were selfless? I mean, you got Buster Posey, MVP, Arenado, MVP candidate, Brandon Crawford, at the time, 2-time Gold Glove winner, Ian Kinsler, coming off a World Series appearance. I mean, a couple World Series appearances. He ended up winning in 18. Hosmer, World Series champ. Stanton, the new god of baseball. Christian Yelich, the new heartthrob of baseball at the time. I mean, then you got the pitchers, you Stroman, Archer, and then you got
David Robinson,
Tanner Roark, David Robertson, and then the list goes on of guys that, again, could you have bigger names? Of course you could, 100%. We had a young Alex Bregman. I think Alex Bregman, that was like, obviously he was new to. He wasn't new to the game of baseball at all, but like the major leagues, I think it was his second year. But him being on our team, I think was one of the most selfless things ever because he's going from being a starter on the Astros, second pick overall, to sitting on the bench for us. We had Paul Goldschmidt sitting on our bench. Daniel Murphy sitting on our bench. Are you kidding me? Like, these are guys at that time. I mean, Bregman could have played for Team Israel and could have batted 1 through 9, played shortstop every single day. Goldschmidt is, still one of the best first basemen in the game, but Hosmer played over him. Like, there's so many different variables. But the second we walked in, we met each other in Fort Myers. Me and Kinsler just talked to each other because we were older guys on the team. Right. And we talked to each other with Posey also. And we're just like, look, I know we're all stars. We all making a lot of money. I get that. We all get that. You're making this, we're making this. This guy's making that. I get all that. You know how much we're all getting paid for this World Baseball Classic? Nothing. Shun your egos off. Play the game hard. We had a team meeting. Hey, it's not about you. It's not. Even during the regular season, like when you're playing the race, it's not about you. It's about the team. And guys were so selfless amongst superstars, amongst guys that the back of their cards had a lot of stamps, had a lot of accolades. Everybody's bookshelves at home had Gold Gloves, All-Star games, Silver Sluggers. No one cared about any of that. Everyone cared about getting that out, that pitch, getting 27 outs and playing the game. And leading up to everything, obviously we faced some tough challenges with Colombia, Puerto Rico, Dominican. We ended up losing Dominican, but we ended up beating Canada to get to the next round. Puerto Rico beat us, but then we beat Venezuela. And then obviously probably the best game of the entire tournament was Dominican USA in San Diego. You have 47,000 people screaming. And then, we score runs. And then it's 4-2, bottom 7. Machado just, and again, I played with Machado. I've been with Machado since day one of his major league career. I see him. I hear the sound off the bat. And I know that sound from his bat. I'm like, oh, shit. So, obviously, I hear that sound, I just break. And I'm like, just in my mind, like, oh, shit, he crushed his ball. Keep running. just keep running. It's San Diego. It's cool at night. It's dew, heavy weather, heavy air, being close to the water. Not on the water, but close to it. I'm like, keep running. And I'm looking at, I ran, peek up, look at the ball. I just said, okay, keep running. I gauge the fence. I'm like, okay, just keep going. I'm not there. Look at the ball again, at the ball. And I'm like, okay, keep going. I see it. I can gauge it. I keep running. I see the wall again. I say, okay, once I get to this warning track, I got 2 steps and I have to jump. And as I'm approaching it, I see the ball. And I didn't even look at the fence again. I just see the ball and I feel the dirt on the warning track. And I just tell myself, after my second step, I say, jump. And I just jumped. And as I'm jumping, I looked at the ball the entire time as I'm jumping. And I felt like, again, it happened so quickly, but to me, it felt like I'm floating. And I just, like angels in the outfield type floating.
Right. Yeah.
And I jump and I just like see myself, I like see the ball and literally see myself catch the ball. And when I caught it, in my mind, I'm just like said, no effing way I just caught this ball, and like blanked out. The next like 20 seconds, I don't remember the next 20 seconds. And so I caught the ball. Obviously, I've seen the replay, but personally, I caught the ball and then it's like lights out. And then on the replay, obviously, I caught the ball. I say, I'm juiced. So it was up to McCutcheon, fired the ball back into Kinsler. And then I regained consciousness once Cano was getting into the box. And then on the board, they show the replay. And I look up and I hear, I know that because I've been being in San Diego playing against them. I know they show the replay, but I just hear the crowd just goes crazy a second time because they see the replay. And then that's the time I like awoke and was like, hold on. What did I just do?
Yeah, it's you're so shocked.
Yeah. Yeah, like what did I just do? Then but then I'm so tied into the game. Cano hits a home run he's the next hitter. He hits a home run, and Yelich had a chance to take a home run away from Cano, but he ran into the wall and was unable to jump. And I'm sitting there like, oh, you gotta have that. It's like thinking, it's like you gotta have that. Obviously, a tough play. It's also a place he didn't play often. So it's a very tough play. But I'm just sitting there thinking, like, after that, we end up getting the final out. But the whole time I'm like, hold on. What did I just do? So we get the third out, I'm running into the dugout, and the crowd just goes nuts. And I'm like, hold on. Like, really, what did I just do? The process of like, what did I really just
There's a
do?
lot more weight to that catch. There's a lot more weight to it than a regular season catch.
Yes. It's not just a nice catch in the regular season, because there's people that rob home runs all the time. And, there's great catch. The magnitude of it. You're playing against Team Dominican, which is,
star-studded team.
All their stars played. All their stars played it. Like, not just their good players. No, every single big star of Dominican Republic was on that roster.
Right.
And I was able to, once I got into the dugout, I was able to process a little bit, because Willie Randolph, our coaches, came to me and was like, bro, do you know what you just did? And I'm like, my heart's beating. I'm like, I made a nice play. Like, it was a nice. He's like, nigga, you didn't just make a nice play. Do you know what you just did? And then we end up scoring 2 runs more, and like took the game to where we had a even better chance to win the game. Obviously improved our odds. We was up 6-3 with a 2-run double by McCutcheon. And I'm just like, just the next 6 outs, I'm just sitting out there processing and like, what did I really just do?
Right.
What did I just do? And then after the game, obviously with the media and all that kind of stuff, and I got to see the catch again. Because I didn't go inside and watch any replays. I just was on the bench the whole time. And I got to see the catch again. And I'm just like, oh, hold on. I just did that? Like it shocked me. Like, damn, like I just did that. The moment, the situation, playing against Dominican, being at home. And I had 20, 30 people in the game that, my friends and family at the game. I'm like, I really just did that in front of everybody. Like I showed my ass in front of everybody. And, the next, because we had a day off before we played Team Japan. And the next, it was like 36 hours was just like, I might have made one of the greatest catches during, of importance ever. Obviously, I think Willie Mays' catch in, the World Series over his shoulder is obviously, I think, the greatest catch for importance situation ever. It's a World Series, let's be honest with myself. But that catch ranks up very, very highly in some of the greatest catches or situations.
Absolutely. I mean, you saved the game. You saved the game in the moment, and you guys ended up winning the whole thing after that, the next game.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of
the greatest
impact.
Catch ever was Gary Matthews Jr. That's I think the greatest catch ever.
I think you're correct, man. I mean, the spin and everything. I mean, that's just everything. I mean,
I think that's one of the greatest catches.
Mike Lamb thought that was
catch in the history of catches.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's up there with the Willie
Mike
Mays.
Lamb, Mike Lamb had exactly. So I'm just like, wow. And I got to process it. But then obviously we had 2 more games. So it was,
right.
I had to move on. And then, get back to spring training. I was able to get back to Sarasota and then like really be able to relish in it. And I was just like, damn, I really just made literally one of the greatest catches situationally ever.
Yeah.
And,
dude, it's crazy.
It's
a moment I'll never forget as a fan.
Me either. And it's just a credit to, again, playing hard, bringing it every single day is what Macklemore and Tony Gwynn installed in me from a very young age of 18 to be able to make that catch. The fear, the not being fearful of making a mistake. If I missed, what if I never caught it? What if it hit off my glove and went over the field? What if there's a bunch of what ifs? I caught the son bitch.
You caught it
in San Diego, at home.
You can't have a better storyline than that.
No,
right.
I got my family, my friends, friends, people that know me from San Diego. Everybody knows I'm from San Diego, and I make one of the greatest catches situationally ever. And it wasn't just like Orioles Padres. We're talking Team USA. So we're talking, during the regular season, you got individual teams booing and going for their individual teams. I had America behind me this time.
Right.
I didn't just have Baltimore's fan base. I had the Dodgers fan base, the Red Sox fan base, the Yankees, Orioles, Tampa, San Diego, Anaheim's, Diamondbacks, Mariners. I had everybody's fan base behind me for Team USA. That is where it was more even monumental that it's not just like, I'm getting responses on social media from Baltimore people like, oh man, great catch. I got responses from all fan bases across the United States. That was that part right there was the coolest part, I believe, because, even though you get, there's fans that appreciate the game of baseball and appreciate the actual talent oh, I'm a Blue Jays fan or I'm a Mariners fan, but I appreciate what you did for the Orioles. This was more like, man, I'm a baseball fan. What you just did for Team USA was awesome. That was the
more
best
of
part about the whole thing.
Yeah, I know you haven't won a World Series. In your opinion, does this mean more than a World Series? I know some of those guys have won World Series that were on the roster. Did they talk about how it was almost more of an important win than winning a World Series? Because winning a World Series is the goal. It's the goal.
Yeah.
And this is like an Olympics.
Winning World Series. Right.
It's tough. No. I know.
No. World Series is
I know.
The World Series, man. The world, man. I don't think there's anything that can compare it to the World Series. And I never got there. I've watched it obviously every year.
Not yet.
Of my life,
Adam, not yet. Never
say
you're
never.
In Japan. Never say never. But you're in Japan. I do want to talk about the transition, and then I want to talk about a tweet that you responded to, a Bob Nightingale tweet just a couple of days ago, and we'll get into that in a second to kind of wrap up. But getting over to Japan now, you are with the Orix Buffaloes. I mean, you were talking earlier on about a culture change going from the minor leagues to the pros or getting drafted, going to the minor leagues. I mean, you are in basically, it might feel like a different planet, right? You're in Japan now, playing in a different league. The style of play is a little different. Pitching isn't as great, but the transition period of playing 14 years of professional baseball in the major leagues to then go to Japan. Now it's been a couple of years. The process must have been wild.
Man, you got no idea. I think my wife is the best one. My wife is the best one to be able to navigate this range of emotions that it took. My first few weeks out here, just even after I signed and committed, I still thought that like, oh man, because I signed and committed in December of 19, and I still was like, man, obviously with the late signings going on now in baseball, like I was like, I told my agent, give me till like mid-January. I know I can get a job somewhere. And I knew that, obviously me being outspoken in baseball, that, when you're outspoken in baseball, you're generally not going to get the best bite of the apple. So it was like, do you want to play baseball? Do you want a guarantee, or do you want a possibility? And me and my wife talked about it, and it was mutual. It's like, I want the guarantee. Like I get that, I went. It's just reality. I went from 17 million to 3 million. No players ever went that
solid drop off
that big ever in history. No players ever went that big unless they're retired. So I was just like, I can go from there to there. I think I can. Like 3 million is not too bad. It's not. It's pretty substantial.
I mean,
salary.
17 is here and 3 million's here.
3 million's a shitload of money. Okay?
It is, but when you're talking about what you had
I was extremely
before,
humble by it. Yeah, exactly. So it's like when I went to Arizona, I was like extremely humbled by the opportunity that they wanted to sign me. I didn't sign until March 13th of 2019. I mean, we're talking about 2 weeks before opening day. So I was just extremely humbled that like somebody even wanted to give me a damn job, because how didn't anybody want to give me a job again? Business. I always defer to business as being the de facto decision-making thing. You can think and have opinions on various things and your own different ideas, but I just said, look, it's just business. It's how it works. It is what it is. But when Orix came with 2-year, 8 guaranteed, I said, you know what, this is such a great opportunity. I looked at my wife, and she lived in Paris as a young kid. The ages of our kids now, 7 and 5. And she was like, so we're going to Japan. And I was like, well, we're going to Japan. Because, again, she was with me from 2010 all the way through 2019. So she's seen the progression of my career on a major scale. And she's just like, look, do you want to have to do like, are you willing? Her thing was, are you willing to sit at home and not have a job? And I was like, I'm 34 years old. No, I want to play, but I still want to play a gas in the tank. And she was like, well, this is the best opportunity for us, for you. And, you know, we get to live abroad or take our kids abroad. Like, let's be honest with ourselves, you know, our families get to come and visit us and all that. And then obviously this talk is obviously pre-COVID.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But her positivity overruled my negativity in it. Me, I'm like, screw this. I think I can get a job in baseball. Come on, man. I had a solid 19. Like, I think I can get a job. And the reality of it was no one wants to sign a 34, 30, going on 35-year-old outfielder. No one wants to sign that. And unless you're willing to take NRI and maybe a chance to make $1 million. $1.5 million.
I have to disagree, though. There's a lot of 35-year-old players, might not be outfielders, that are still playing that aren't great. And I wanted to say this. I know you were talking about you're in Japan now and you're having a pretty good time. It's socially different. Sorry, I'm getting a call here. Sorry. I thought I'll put my phone on silent here. Whatever. You're different career now in Japan, but personally, me, man, like, I think you got enough in the tank to give a couple more years in the show. I think there's a lot more guys that are playing that, quite frankly, shouldn't be playing. And look, you're let's be honest, you're not hitting 35 home runs anymore, and you know that as a vet. And I think we talked about ego before. You're not this egotistical guy is like, oh, I can still mash 25, 30 home runs a year, but you know what your game is. But you're still gonna mash, you're gonna mash 15 home runs a year. You did it in Arizona in 19. So I find it ridiculous that you're not in the show. And I've been preaching that to my friends, other colleagues. I've been a fan of yours for a while. So it doesn't make much sense to me. But I had to get that off my chest before we ended the show here. But you know, playing at Japan, what is it like facing that type of pitching? Because you might not remember this, but early in this year, you were on a clubhouse room with Lonnie Murray, and I was in that room. And I asked you the question about facing pitching in Japan and the correlation and how different it was. I would love for you to talk about that again, because everyone knows the pitching isn't as great, but you're seeing guys with a lot more movement. It's not speed necessarily, but a lot more junk. Am I wrong? Am I right?
Hey, I'm telling you, I think I've seen maybe 75 to 80% off speed since I've been in Japan. I talked to my interpreter who has been around since he's in his 38th year, and he says American guys aren't getting fastballs. If you give, like, they will walk you and they won't care if they walk you. They will throw you 7, 8 straight off speed pitches. They do not care. If they give up a home run to the foreign guys, they will go inside and get their ass whooped with a ruler. And I'm like, as a hitter, I'm like, I'm not getting off the fastball. My mentality is I'm not getting, and they throw me these damn fork balls and I just swing and miss. I'm like, I hate this. So these damn fork, throw me a fast. They're not throwing me fastballs. But as a hitter, it's just, it's I can't get off the fastball. That's just like, it's something deeply ingrained to me that if I miss a fastball, I'll be pissed. If I miss an off-speed pitch, get tricked, okay, you fooled me, hip hip hooray. But if I miss that heater, my ass will be chapped because I'll be pissed. And it's part of the culture here. They throw a lot of off-speed pitches. They also don't have the shelf life of American pitchers. But I mean, now who has a shelf? There's not many pitchers that has a shelf life anyway of anything. As you see the last 4 or 5 years of Major League Baseball, like, guys just, they just are rotated like underwear. And, being here, like, it's just I think it humbled the living hell out of me, because I'm not in Major League Baseball. There's no chartered flights. There's no Four Seasons, St. Regis, Ritz Carltons. You don't stay at these hotels. The good thing is a bullet train, which is awesome. It's faster than hell. Your coffee won't spill. You can keep it right there. It will not spill. It's awesome. Opposed to the Amtrak on the East Coast. You're gonna spill. You might fall out your damn seat.
All this.
Exactly. So I just think that it's extremely humbling that the clubhouses are ass on the road. I'm talking ass. It's like ass.
Really?
And I don't give a damn if the MPB is listening. Hey, the clubhouse on the road. I send pictures to my friends. I send pictures to my baseball friends. I got a big group text of a lot of former players, and I'm just like, hey man, I'm doing a 5 to 10 year bid. I'm sorry. Can y'all send me some letters? You know what I mean? Some of these road clubhouses are
Is it
brutal.
that bad? Like what are we talking about? The shoebox?
What's up, guys? Quick message for you guys. The interview is not over yet, but I want to relay this quick message. Liking and subscribing to my channel, liking the videos and subscribing to the channel really helped me out. And it'll help you out too. If you subscribe to this channel, you'll get notified for every new video that's uploaded. And I already have a ton of content that you might not have seen yet. Interviews with Scott Hansen, who's the host of the NFL Red Zone. Craig Carton, one of the most important, popular sports radio hosts around the country. I interviewed him last December. I have people like, El Duncan and Ashley Brewer and Michael Eaves that work at ESPN. And I have other athletes as well over the years. Content, baby. Subscribe, like the videos, enjoy, and really appreciate it if you guys can do that. So let's get back to the interview with Adam Jones.
The road clubhouses are not major league clubhouses. They are, again, I told you, I send pictures to my friends. It's a little bit closer to prison than what you would think and assume a professional clubhouse should be. But again, they always say Japanese style, and I just say, okay, I'm in Japan. I'm not in America. I can't. My opinion doesn't hold water to you guys, so I get it. But again, it was being here is incredibly humbling because being on top of the world in Major League Baseball, there's just so many things that you're just like, oh wow, they're like being on top of the world. And then, coming to Japan, again, it's awesome. I'm not gonna I can't badmouth and say this is terrible, the experience is terrible. No,
right.
Playing here has been awesome. It's an opportunity to first off, to live in a different culture, to play in cities that I've never been to play against players I've never been to, but also see the grind that many players have been through, and to understand that a lot of players that I've played with have came over here to Japan and made financial gains, terrific financial gains. I've played with players that came over here and made upwards of $40 million. And I'm like, well, damn, they're offering me more. They're offering me more than I even got last year. And again, my agent was like, "Yo, look, just the reality of it is, you can get NRI, you can maybe wait it out and maybe work yourself to 1.5, 1.75, maybe 2 million if you reach all your damn incentives of a possible deal, or you can go here and get 2.8 guaranteed and be able to have such a good experience, have such a good lifestyle with your family, see something different, or be on your couch. And like I said, my wife is like, do you want to be on the couch, depressed, drinking everything in the damn cabinetry, or do you want to have a chance to, still make great money and
it's a little different.
We can go live abroad and do it. And me being a traveling guy, a mentally strong guy, like I don't like change that much, but I embrace change within the job because I've had change within the job. I went from the number one prospect with the Mariners to being traded to the Orioles. spent 11 years there, and thrown out like Jazz on Fresh Prince. Then go to Arizona and be like, well, here's a 1-year deal. And then like, I had a great time there actually. And then it's like, obviously they're moving in a different direction, a young organization. You got a lot of talent. And then it's like, this is an opportunity to just, it was actually what it was my first opportunity that many players don't get to be like, I'm going to do what I want to do. Most players don't ever get that chance to do that. Like we see when, like, with these veterans doing certain veterans with the I'm gonna retire after the season tour. Most players in all of sports across the board do not get that opportunity. You don't retire. People are like, oh, even if you look at guys in the minor leagues, you hear, oh, the guy retires from the minor leagues. Retire means that you get a pension. That's for retirement. You don't get no damn pension if you retire in the minor leagues.
Gotta hit those 10 years. Gotta hit those 10 years.
Exactly. But now with retirement in Major League Baseball starts with day one. But just the opportunity to be like, look, I've made a good amount of money here. I'm grateful. I worked my ass off for it at the same time. So don't act like I didn't earn the shit. But I get a chance to do what I want to do. And again, my wife was the biggest support system in that. Like we don't need Major League Baseball. Let's go do whatever you want. Like, they screwed you in some ways. Let's go do what you want to do.
I applaud you for that, man.
Want to do. Let's go live in a different country. Let's take our boys to live in a different country. I got two young boys that are now, speaking a little bit Japanese. I take it back to the 90s living of, remember when we used to have to call people's house phone to ask for somebody, opposed to now these kids texting. My kids, we live in an apartment building that have set up, and they call people's apartments and say, hey, that my kids are now learning the proper etiquette of talking to someone through the phone of like, hey, excuse me, sir, how are you doing? Excuse me, ma'am, can I talk to your son or your daughter? And can I come over? Like the proper etiquette of communication, opposed to just like sending a text message, like, hey, I'm coming over. Which is nonverbal communication. My kids are learning the verbal communication and just respectiveness of adults. And, I get that I'm not in Major League Baseball. But with that, I got my 10 years.
That's huge.
I probably maxed out my financial gains in Major League Baseball. I was able to come over to Japan and still make $8 million. I don't give a damn how you circle it up or you cut it up. That's a lot of money.
Yeah.
Which is going to my kids, my family, I got nieces and nephews. That's going to the legacy. It's going to the big account that, my nephews and nieces are going to college. They're going to, like, I don't give a damn. Like, I'm able to, the financial literacy behind it, I'm able to pass on the finances and the financial literacy to be able to pay for college for my nieces and nephews. And I got 4 of them that are, we got 2 15-year-olds and 2 16-year-olds. They're going to be driving soon. Uncle Adam, hey man, hey,
can I have a car?
Get a new car. Yeah, of course. Yeah, you get a 99 Accord. That's what the hell you're getting.
Just
okay?
like
the
I
car
did.
Runs.
Damn right. Yeah.
Exactly.
Damn
you bastard.
right.
The car runs. So it's
no Tesla for you.
No. Can I get a BMW? Yeah, my ass. Okay. So it's like a even more of an educational thing that, like, like I say it humbled the hell out of me because, Major League Baseball is a dream come true. Like literally a dream come true. And being able to play there for 14 years, it's a dream. Like, I shit you not, it's a dream come true. You fly charter, you show up to you don't have to lift the finger. Only time you have to lift the finger is to pick up your bat.
Yeah.
You show up, everything is organized. Here, I got to pack my bag. I got to give it to the delivery guy for the truck. I got to get my bag at the hotel. get it, take it to the field, unpack myself, clean my
what
own damn cleats.
Yeah, what I'm taking from this is that for the other young guys that might be watching here, you don't want to take it for granted because what you got is the best of the best. But I also applaud that you took a chance on yourself and your family to go somewhere completely out of your comfort zone. So I applaud you for that. And you're having a lot of success and you're making the bread. So the last thing I want to say is a tweet that was tweeted out by Bob Nightingale, who's a sports reporter, baseball, covers baseball. He tweeted about there's a finalized list of guys that are be candidates for the Padres job since Chase Tingler's was relieved of his duties. Now there's a lot of guys available. I think one former guy, Buck Showalter's on that list. And I don't know if this is for trolling or you're just messing around or this is serious. You just wrote Adam Jones with the eye emojis. Is that something you would want to do down the line once your career is done in Japan? Do you want to be a manager in the show?
I mean, I want to play for the Padres, honestly, first and foremost. I mean, that's my hometown team. I got, thousands of friends, family, and it just obviously supporters from San Diego that, have just reached out to me so many times and via social media, like, oh man, play for the Padres. But at the same time, I understand as an athlete, my career is coming to an end. This year could be the last year, next year could be the last year, but it's not like, oh, I have a 5-6 year window. My window is not wide open. My window is
closing.
I'm getting that slight cool breeze. Okay, I'm not opening the window full, and I understand that, but I think that when it comes to leadership, I think that my qualities are good. I think when it comes to,
I think so.
I think when it comes to motivation, I think my qualities are pure. I think that I can motivate guys. I think I can push guys in the right direction. But at the same time, I also have the proper repertoire of being able to relate to new school, old school. And I get it. This new era is analytical. I get it. And, I got a lot of friends in the game who are playing, retired, and, a lot of them in the media that, obviously understand that the analytical side has taken over. And even with we were talking about, some of my friends were talking about tonight with the Dave Roberts thing and the Corey Knievel starting, and Robert said that, which I know him very well. He was one of my AAU coaches back when he was still playing when I was 15 years old. So we go way back. And he was saying that, he didn't have a big say in what happens with Knievel starting over Urias. And, I'm just sitting there like, I'm reading the comments, and Will Middlebrooks is one of my really good friends within the game. Great guy, but understands the game, and obviously being in the situation in Boston, how they were just, obviously always in it during those years. It's just like, his comment was, well, okay, Roberts is going to say this, but Roberts is going to get the brunt of this no matter what. If they lost that game, Roberts' decision. And Roberts' decision. No one knows the guy. He said, no one knows the guy sitting on a MacBook. Okay. Right. No one knows that guy. Sitting on a MacBook, twirling his thumbs, playing with himself meanwhile. And who knows what is under his other tabs.
Right.
Okay. So he doesn't get that. And then I read the comments. I like to read comments because people are fucking stupid. People are fucking stupid. Like, I swear to you, reading the comments of things, you get to know how dumb people really are. And so, well, he makes the more money than that guy. So literally everything's about money, but no one complains about the richest people in the world making more money.
Yeah.
While they slave out everybody else's humanity. No one complains about that. But so you complain about the athlete.
Yeah,
you complain about the coach.
It's the easy way. It's the easiest thing to do, right? It's the easiest thing to do because it's right in front of them. You don't know who the AJ Prellers or you don't know all the GMs and the Andrew Freemans of the world. They don't know,
they're not going to be always talking to the media, which they do.
No,
But they don't
the
talk.
the GMs are obligated. The manager's obligated. But the nerds behind it that are controlling the game, the owners are not obligated.
No,
at
absolutely
all.
not.
But the nerds behind the game, they're not obligated to speak. They just say, "Oh, well, if something happens, see, I told you. If it doesn't happen, well, he was out of position, or he threw it and he didn't throw it." Like they don't have to answer any questions.
So I see what type of manager you'd be. I can see what type of manager you'll be. You'll be hard-nosed.
I'm both. Like data is important,
right?
Because it's showing like this is what the game is. It's the guy does this. It's showing what he is. But at the same time, you have to understand the player.
Right. Exactly.
Like, you just have to understand. You got to understand the player on the mound. And I think one of the biggest things with the analytical thing will always boil down to Kevin Cash taking out Blake Snell. He was mowing down the Dodgers in Game 6. Hey, mowing down them. He had 74 pitches when they take him out, something like that. 74 pitches for a guy who just won the Cy Young 2 years prior. 74 pitches, he's just breaking a sweat. I don't give a damn. If you took the ball from Clayton Kershaw, if you took the ball from Jacob deGrom, you took the ball from Max Scherzer, they would probably first off, you can't take the ball from them. They'll say, get the fuck off. They'll say, get the fuck off the mound, take your ass back to the dugout. What are you doing?
Right.
Okay. But Tampa's philosophy, I get it. Third time through the lineup, we don't know. It just shows that data from this guy that went to Yale says that if this data does this and does, hey, I just seen this guy mow down the best lineup in baseball with 74 pitches. He's the Cy Young guy. He's not our fifth starter. He's the Cy Young guy. It's Game 6 of the World Series. You got 110 pitches. Do what you need to do. You got till you say you need to come out.
Yeah.
I think
I'm the same way with you, dude. I'm the same way with you.
Yeah.
When guys, I'm a firm believer of the analytics side. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
But there's something called over managing and overdoing it. And that's what we saw from that Blake Snell situation where he is in a groove. You don't touch a guy who's in a groove. You just don't. Same thing with the guy in the lineup. If he is crushing the ball batting sixth, he's hitting 400 in the first month of the year, batting sixth, I'd say don't move him. He's comfortable. He sees more fastballs down the bottom of the order. So just let it be. And I think that needs to be back in the game. And hey, look, dude, I can see you playing for the Padres, but I can see maybe even being a manager for the Padres. Who knows?
Managing, and it's tough because obviously the commitment is big, and I need time. I need time when I'm done playing. I need time away from the game. I need time to just get away, be on my own schedule, just have a freedom, have a summer, just do whatever I need to do. But
hey, guess what, dude?
I mean,
baseball's
again,
waiting.
I would love to manage.
Will wait. Yeah, baseball will wait for you. That's the thing. It'll always be there.
I would love to. I would love to manage. I would love to be a leader. I mean, I am a leader. That's, I just got out of quarantine here in Japan, and the first day I had 7 players come up to me and just like, hey, what am I doing? What am I doing? What am I doing? How am I doing this? And obviously, here is different because I'm a major league player talking to them opposed to a major league player talking to major league player, egos, money that they're making. Guy making $20 million don't really give a damn about what the next guy's got to say. But at the same time, it's just, I'm a player that, and I have been a player that understands the data, but at the same time, explain the data. Don't tell me. And I got another great story of me in the Orioles GM in the analytical department, and
get into it.
Man, wanted to strangle somebody during these meetings.
Oh, geez. I'd like to hear
it. But just like, use the data for what it's for. It's data, it's information. It's not the means to be all. The last team to implore anything, I think that it was actual fact of data was the Braves run in the late 90s when Greg Maddux could put the ball where he wanted to put it. Tom Glavine could put the ball where he wanted. John Smoltz could put the ball where he wanted. Steve Avery could put the ball where he wanted. And Denny Nagel could put the ball where he wanted. No staff has been that good since. Quote me on that. You can fact check it. You can do whatever you want. No staff has been that good since then. The Brewers, with their top three, has been close. They've been great. They weren't three. They weren't five. That was 3 out of 5. And they've been in those 3 were damn good with Peralta, Burns, and Woodruff. Mm-hmm. But and you've had good staffs throughout with Scherzer, with Strasburg, Sanchez. Like there's been and I faced Scherzer, Verlander, Price. Okay, we faced them. You're talking about 3 out of 5. I'm talking about 5 guys that can do equally what the previous guy did on the night. And that just means that data is great. Nerds are great for everything.
Nerds are great. Put that on a t-shirt.
I would I've been watching Family Matters with my kids, like showing them that Steve Urkel was like the Steve Urkel's a freaking superhero. The dude is awesome. And I actually know Jaleel White professional, like away from the game, away from from Family Matters. And I talked to him about his show, and he's just like, man, it's like people didn't realize the greatness of Steve Urkel until years and years later, because everybody wanted to get caught up in Laura being pretty. Everybody wanted to caught up being Eddie Winslow being cool. They forgot to take in consideration the reason of everything. Like, it's great to hit home runs, but what about the guy who's the most important guy on the staff? Who's the most important guy in the clubhouse? Who's the most important guy in your field? Obviously everybody, but you have to, when it comes to sports,
right?
You can hit 40, 50 home runs and don't make the playoffs, and nobody care. Great season. Yeah. Nobody cares. Have we talked the one time in the postseason? Have we talked one time about Vlad Jr.?
Nope.
Ohtani?
Nope.
One time. Now, are they in MVP consideration? Hank Aaron Award, all that kind of they both have had phenomenal seasons. I think they're both unbelievable players, all that. But have we spoke one time about them in the last tweets? There has not been tweets about Ohtani. Ben Verlander, he wants to kiss Ohtani on the mouth. I've spoken with him. He wants to kiss them all on the mouth. Has he spoke one time about Ohtani since
postseason started? No.
Has he? No, because the postseason is a completely different thing. And I show my kids these games. Webb is old school pitching, sinker, slider, changeup, like sinker, slider. And I watch Stroman's tweets. I'm really good friends with Marcus Stroman, and he's like, his insight is ridiculous. Because he's a positive aura.
He needs to be in the booth in the offseason when he's not making the playoffs. Yeah. He's
unbelievable because
I think
he gets the game but there's no bias to it. And he just speaks the truth about the game and what he sees. And people hate on him because he's positive. He's positive within himself. Like, that's the biggest thing, though, as you get older. People hate when you believe in yourself because a lot of people hate themselves. And that's just reality, which sucks. People are depressed, people are all that. That sucks. But you haven't talked about it. We haven't discussed all that. Like Bellinger got a big base hit tonight. No one gives a shit about that. He hit 165 during the season. Who cares about that?
Yeah, it's kind of all in the rear view mirror now. Yeah.
Who cares? He got the biggest hit of the season right now for himself. He obviously not alone, but with that hit sent them to the National League Championship Series.
Yeah. All it takes is
he hit 165 during the season. So So that he hit that. Who cares? He got the hit that led them to the National League Championship Series. Like, that's what I would want to bring to any team, is the positivity that, look at, you went 0 for 4. Well, shit. You just faced Kershaw. You faced Bueller. Don't worry. A lot of people went 0 for 4 that night. Okay. Yeah, it happens. You're 0 for your last 20, 2 for your last 30. Willie Mays did that. Hank Aaron did that. Barry Bonds did that. Tony Gwynn did that. Like, it's part of the game. You don't need to slam your helmet. And I get frustration is part of it. I get it. That means frustration is part of Carmina. Just the fact that you want to be great.
Yeah.
That you're frustrated because you want to be great. But it's part of the game. It's part of the sport. You want to be great. Of course you do. But at the same time, I learned a long time ago, the guy on the mound, he wants to eat steak and lobster too. He don't want to eat ramen. He wants to eat steak and lobster too. So you think he's just going to throw you a fastball right down the middle so you can hit the ball out of the park? Hell no. Battle. This is chess. It's not checkers. And, with this, it's just that's how it would be as a manager. It's like, I get the nerd side, which I highly, highly respect. And calling them nerds is obviously always rude. But at the end of the day, these some bitches went to all these high prestigious universities, and you're taking a $50,000, $75,000 check just to do this when you could have easily made 20, 25. I mean, probably 3 to 4 times as much in the actual field that you deserve, you bastards. But you want to be in baseball, which I get it. Baseball is to be in Major League Baseball is phenomenal, or any sport, baseball, basketball, football. I got friends, my wife has friends that have taken lesser pays that they honestly deserve to be in said sports. And I get it. But I would be that bridge of like, okay, I get that. I get it. But at the same time, look at this guy, this is how he looks this day. Don't tell me anything different. I don't give a damn what your numbers say. The guy has 74 pitches through 6 innings and is mowing down the best freaking line. He's your Cy Young guy. He's not a young guy. You see tonight, Webb went 100 and some pitches.
Yeah.
And I'm watching the game like, there's like, how are you keeping this guy in? It's a close game. He hit 3 times. How are you keeping this guy in? You're keeping this guy in because you believe that his stuff is good.
Yes.
And he's your star. You believe his stuff is good and it's working. And I get the analytical side. The third time through is this and this. I get it. And again, if the guy is Dylan, you stick with the gun that is going. And I think as a manager, I would be that way. I learned a lot from Buck Showalter because we started to implement the analytical side. But he was like, I get it. But at the same time, I trust my guys. Buck's greatest strength, people never want to talk, Buck's greatest strength was not our everyday lineup. Our everyday lineup was obviously a great strength. His greatest strength was his bullpen.
How to manage
every
it,
day.
Right?
Our lineup was set in stone. We knew the guys we had 6 guys that were playing 140, 150 games for 5-6 years straight during his tenure. The last couple of years, 17, 18, shit, that wasn't good. But a lot of it wasn't his fault. It was financial issues. You can't re-sign these guys, that guys, and all that kind of thing. But that's the business side of it. But his greatest strength was managing the bullpen. He trusted that his starters would start and be ready to play. Now, did we battle injury? Did we battle scrapes, scratches, pulls, bruises? Of course we did. But we went into it. If he asked us, hey, can you go? We said, well, look, man, for Skip, not for you. I mean, for you, but for the guy behind us, the entire clubhouse. Hey, no, I'm ready. And the guy sitting next to me was in my locker was JJ Hardy, who was a couple years older than I am and battled different injuries. Showed up every single day ready to go. every single day, ready to go. And I would tell Showalter, hey, give this guy a day off. Give him these days off. Like I see him every day. I'm with him. Like give him these days off. But JJ, I know JJ. He's like, nah, I'm good. Like, nah, I can play. I can, and I know. Watching him, he's battling these things. I was battling things. CD was battling things. Scope, Machado, Wieters, Davis. Like we all were battling things. But we knew that, look, I wanted to be out there every single day for the man next to me because he would do the same for me. That's why we were successful from 12 to 16. Were we the most talented team? No. Yankees obviously have just crazy talent. Boston has a crazy talent.
Right.
And Toronto in 14 through 16, they were really, really good. Their talent proved itself. And it's like, with Tampa, they obviously have always been just who the hell is this guy, but he's good. That's Tampa Bay. Who the hell is this guy, but he's good? And, we used our experience, but we also used the fact that we believed in each other to a factor. And again, as a manager, that's what I would employ is that my veterans take care of the team. I don't want anybody outside of my clubhouse influencing my team. This clubhouse will influence themselves. We police ourselves. I don't care what happens outside. And that was Buck's biggest thing. What happens outside is happens outside. I'll take care of it.
Right.
If there's questions about anything, I'll take care of it. You guys handle and police yourselves. I'll never forget, we had a team meeting he said, look, you guys, we're going to create team rules. We're going to have these rules, and they're going to maintain these rules the entire year. And he said, these rules start with this. He walked the fuck out. You guys can, and what is he walking out? He said, you guys make the rules. This is your team. This is not my team. This is your team. And we
interesting. So you know what,
we
Adam?
made 2 rules.
What are those 2 rules?
Police yourself and show the fuck up every day.
I mean, look, that is why I think you'd be successful. I mean, you've been around a lot of professionals over your career with Tony Gwynn, and they ended up with Buck Showalter, and you have the experience. So if there is ever an opportunity, and if I one day have a bigger voice than I have now, I will 100% back you. You are, in my book, ready to manage, but you're still playing. But I do want to say, Adam, I appreciate you coming on. This is over 2 hours, and I cannot thank you enough. Yeah, you got to go to sleep. You got to play tomorrow, I'm assuming. But
damn.
Yeah, dude. I mean, this is great. We started at 9. It's 11:17 now, East Coast time. Adam, plug your stuff. I know you got a podcast. Plug your social. Tell them where they can find you.
Yeah, obviously, Simply AJ10 is my Twitter, Instagram. Instagram, I post a lot of very funny memes. My wife gets really mad at me. But Twitter is Simply AJ10 also. And you can find me at Heckle D's podcast, HeckleDeez podcast. And obviously, it's since, fans have heckled me throughout my career. We just, my brother-in-law created a good podcast of Heckle D's where we just let it fly and have a good time. Very respectful, as I've always been, through the waves. But at the same time, I just try to voice my true opinion. I try to give the facts. I try to give the opinion of the sports world that most people don't get to see. Obviously, we all think that sports are just what we see on TV. That's a minute part of the game, and I just try to just give stories from my perspective. And so far, it's been good. And again, like tonight, I appreciate you for having me on. And I just try to give some stories from my career, and just try and again, just give the perspective from the baseball player, because what we see on TV is not necessarily true. And a lot of players don't necessarily offer all their expertise. And, I'm an open book. So I just, again, appreciate the opportunity, and I'm always grateful to be able to share the major league life and the major league experiences with anybody.
Well, Adam, I hopefully we can get you back on as a recurring guest, but thank you and appreciate the time. Appreciate it always.
Anytime, buddy. Anytime.